Doing good. It's a nice cool day in Nashville, so I'm ready to, LF Gotchi.
Oh yeah, yesterday was a good conversation. Still thinking about that.
Oh yeah, that was
What'd
a
you
lot of
guys talk
alpha.
about?
Are we talking the GMI call with Shah going over the Aavegotchi platform, or just the general District 420 chat as well? Because we had some big brain conversations across the whole night last night.
I'd say the whole night, to be honest. Like the whole kind of evening was I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that reminds me because I don't want to forget this, but at some point I want to ask Coder Dan, because we were talking about like with certain games, like certain mini games, that are coming out. If Pixelcraft would ever consider, like, say for the Gotchi Jam game, if we were to run a tournament with the guilds or like separate teams, we would want to see if we could potentially get Pixelcraft like or the DAO to agree to allowing aesthetic wearables that would be basketball jerseys for the various teams. We can do a GBM. They would have no value except for inside of the game itself. It could be an aesthetic in the Gotchiverse, but for the game, it would be like wearables for each team. So that because right now, if you go into the game, you wear what you're wearing, your regular wearables. So we were discussing like, oh, it'd be really cool if we had like an Orium Guild jersey and the Order of the Portal Mages. So when we throw this tournament, they can rock it out and then like kind of do it up big.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
kind of
like
cool.
aesthetic wearables. Yeah.
That's kind of what Shaw was also saying with the storefront. The each mini game could have its own little storefront, and that's where they would sell their wearables. For their mini games or for their games. Some of them will be like full on games. So. But yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I'm really stoked for it.
Jesse's got a good point there. He said, couldn't the game itself assign jerseys based on what wallet? I guess in that case, they wouldn't be actually equipped on chain. They would basically be overriding the SVG of the Gachi. That would be one way, kind of a lighter way to do it.
Yeah, we were discussing that, and it's we agreed. I think user OX default was actually talking about designing jerseys and stuff like that for that purpose. I just don't like for me personally. I just didn't know how easy it would be to override the wearables that the gotchis are actually wearing. But if it's possible, then we can go that route.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Acteon to have normal wearables. It'd be great if we could have actual implementation of those first, and get those like where we're happy with them, and then start introducing more crazy stuff.
Yeah, I'll pass that on
Man,
to Ryder.
here comes the spillover, friends. I'm on John Gotchi's parcel here.
Oh man,
By the
I'm
way,
racing over there right
Metropolis,
now.
it's super smooth today. I don't know if you guys have been in, but for me, usually there's a little bit of lag. It feels really good today. I think it's a lot of the back end stuff that the team's been working on. Let's see how we do with spillover this week, though. Hopefully, everything goes smoothly. Far so good, though.
Oh yeah, it's feeling like butter. This is nice.
Right, I know. It's like there's like no lag anymore. Very little lag. We're not even done with all the optimizations yet. There's still the big stuff hasn't even been pushed to production yet, but it's already feeling pretty good.
Yeah, my gotchi's like floating around nicely, little drift
Yeah,
going, no issues, kind of cool.
it's awesome. Yeah, it's like I have like it feels like super low ping, which is how it should feel.
It's amazing how far it's come since a couple months ago, where all these parcels were kind of bare. Now we get to see the mosaic tiles. It's been really interesting seeing some of the designs people have put on their parcels.
Yeah, this one up here, I'm just discovered it. We got a bunch of green. It's got 4. It's surrounded by FUD, and then it's got some yellow and green tiles. Pretty cool. Nice little design. I'm glad you guys are feeling the smoothness too. It's not just me. This is a good sign.
Yeah, usually when I have more than like a few gotchis on my screen, it's kind of laggy. But today it's just everyone's flying around and it's not lagging at all. It's great.
Yeah, Bin Laden's gonna have to change his name. Not lagging anymore.
Not lagging. Going to the after party. Going to the after party parcel.
Oh, where is it?
There's a swarm leaving John Gotchi's parcel now. We're heading east.
Zooming.
We asked a question last night, and maybe you can give us some background. But how long, in your opinion, based on how things are getting developed right now, how long before do you think Gotchi Gang won't be using Discord anymore in its full capacity the way we use it right now? How long do you think it'll be before Gotchi Gang can have like this event that we're doing right now in the Gotchiverse, like fully in the Gotchiverse?
Yeah, I would say probably not this year because we're so focused on the combat part. But
Yeah.
eventually, it kind of goes in phases. Like we started with farming, and then we did social, and then now we're doing the NFT display, and then we'll do combat. And at some point we will do social V2, which will have a lot more of the kind of voice features and like more integrated chatting and stuff. But that's going to definitely come after combat because we really want that combat.
I mean, if you think about it in a general roadmap sense, that is still very quick because you look at where other metaverses are in development, and they still haven't implemented that yet. And some of those have been in development since 2018, even like Decentraland. So I think we're still ahead of the
They
curve
haven't
on that.
implemented combat, you mean, or which feature?
No, just in regards to implementing Discord stuff. Like implementing communication features like Discord. Discord does an okay job for now. I'll take it. It's whatever. Has its
Yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to just be in the Gotchiverse, doing voice chat stuff, like basically moving my stream to like my parcel with the bounce gate and stuff. Like once we have like a Gotchi pinata or something, having like daily parties.
Yeah, that Gotchi pinata idea is interesting.
Maybe the pinata should be a liquidator so that it's like a little bit more. We're beating the hell out of our enemy to get some prizes.
Well, usually with pinatas, you have a bat or something to hit the pinata, right? What if we talk about eyes and laser eyes, has been mentioned a few times. I think it would be cool if the laser eyes were what you would hit the pinata with. Like you would like blast, like you would shoot your laser eyes at it, and that would like break it apart. You
Yeah,
could have a bunch
Felix.
of.
I see Felix's comments. The Gotchiverse is moving really smooth today. I just ran around my parcel collecting all the spillover. No one was around, and it just was like nice. No like, stalls or anything like that. My Gotchi's just skating around, picking up alchemica. It's pretty cool. So I saw that Coder Dan, you kind of chastised the or not you, Aavegotchi itself chastised the Gotchi intern. So I'm assuming that we got the issue of the Kubernetes box that he dropped fixed, correct?
Yeah, that was last week, and we got it fixed pretty quickly that day. It was just after the hangout, unfortunately. It was just a small error that wasn't caught during the testing, so that I don't think that'll happen again. It was kind of a perfect storm of a lot of different things that happened that led to that. So pretty low chance of it reoccurring. But we're also doing more weekly testing before the Hangout on Fridays to make sure that everything looks good with all the new changes that we've been pushing before we get to the Hangout.
Yeah, we're wondering who the Aavegotchi intern is.
I'm wondering too.
There's two of them now. There's two of them. There's one that's like one is seems to be a good worker, while the other one is a degen.
Which of you degens is it? Oh, Faith says the second one is fake. Does he have some alpha?
A fake
Is he
intern.
Gotchi intern? Who is it? I told Gotchi intern to get back to work the other day. He was slacking on the job.
That might be our first NPC in the Gotchiverse. Gotchi intern. Go talk to the intern, see what he has to say about the roadmap right now.
That intern's a drunk though. Like he's talking about doing keg stands and dropping the Kubernetes box and messing up the Hangout last week. So we gotta keep an eye on that one.
Got to keep an eye on his hijinks for sure.
Where are you guys at right now?
I was on John Gotchi's parcel. Now I'm kind of feeling like I don't know where to go because all these Gotchis like ran off, and I have no idea where they went. Oh, Luchadors has piñatas. Okay. I mean, I think our we would probably, like, would we call them piñatas? Maybe we might call them something else. Or maybe it would be piñatas but with like 2 A's, you know, in the typical Gotchi fashion.
What does a piñata do in Luchadores?
The wearable?
Okay, so it's not something you can actually like attack and doesn't drop tokens.
Doesn't Comet Swap the spaceship game? Like, does this piñata like sit in your spaceship? Like, how does that? Like, is it your character?
Is that like the
Yeah, Golden Cross is also a little confused because Comet Swap is like the spaceship game, isn't it? You're like mining like rocks and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know about their piñatas, man. It's a comet.
Comet did 100% reroll. It's a magic game now. What?
What? I'm very
Like
confused with what they're doing over
Magic
there.
the Gathering? What does that mean? Oh my gosh, it's a card game.
What? Oh my god. Okay, because last time we actually like had a little AMA thing with them because there's an Aavegotchi themed cometh spaceships.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we partnered with them early on. Mark Zeller introduced them.
I was kind of digging that the original iteration of their game. I did play it a little bit. It was interesting. I don't know about the card game though.
Well, I'm not really surprised because like Gods Unchained and Splinterlands are like the most popular crypto games right now because they're card games. It's a little bit easier for people to understand.
That's interesting because Axie Infinity went the same route. Like it seems like that's the way these projects are going because it's like you said, probably easier to understand the card game and but also that's a different type of player. So that means there's a type of player that's not being engaged right now with crypto-based games.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of auto battlers. I mean, turn-based stuff, it's okay. Auto battlers, meh. I want real-time strategy. I want real-time action.
Well, are we the first to do that? Because that's an interesting
so.
point. We might be. Even Illuvium, you know, Illuvium has a lot of VC backing. I don't even know what their project's valued at, but it's quite large. They've got a lot of money given to them for development, and they're working on developing an auto battler right now.
Yeah.
And I think they're saying it's their V1, but like, why start there? You know, if you have so much money and like, you know, ability to shoot a little higher, you know, why not? But I think we might be able to get there probably first.
Yeah, we are. I think we're gonna get there first for sure. Like combat in its in some form will be live most likely this year. Obviously, it's gonna be a very like V1 version that we'll have to be improving on.
I think battle will really be where gotchis get differentiated a lot more than they are right now with the farming stuff. These archetypes of these different gotchis we talk about will really become obvious. What they're good at, what they're not good at.
Yeah, I think so too. Hold on, just had to reporting a bug here I found in the Gotchi verse.
Dang,
You
I just
guys all
popped a
still hear me?
level.
Okay, thought we were.
Yeah, we can
Thought
hear
I
you.
disconnected.
I just popped a level 7 reservoir that was like full, and there's like so much alchemica on these 2 parcels. It's so pretty.
Where are you at?
I don't know which district I'm in actually, because it's a client's parcel. Let me see. Should be picking this up before other people get here. District 41.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all big alchemica too. It seems like a lot of like large pieces, large chunks of alchemica. Just gonna take my time.
There's a
drift around.
swarm. There's a swarm coming at you now.
I know. I'm trying to get all the FUD. Not the FUD. Everything but the FUD. I still get caught by that because I often walk around picking up alchemica and just ignore the color of the alchemica and base it on the size. And I remind myself, it's like, no, go for the keck. What are you doing? Ignore the FUD.
That's a good life lesson.
Ignore the FUD. Get the kecks.
Right now, I'm
go
up.
for the keck.
I go for the FOMO. I FOMO in.
Yeah, you're right. There's like big alpha chunks where I landed. So
You get a lot of like FOMO. So like I go for those big red chunks first, and it's the little pink ones. Where's everybody at?
gonna follow no future around. And pick up all the big chunks being left.
You're jumping in and out though, right? No future.
Yeah, usually.
I don't have that many gachis to channel today, so I'm actually sticking around and picking up some of it. But this was like ridiculous because it's a level 7 reservoir setup, and the person set up like double the number of harvesters compared to the reservoir, so they fill up. I mean, he extended it because used to be like every 8 hours I had to empty it, or it would get full and stop producing. So now it's, I think, on a 12-hour cycle, which makes it a little easier. But yeah, like when it gets full, it's like it's at almost. I think if the reservoir's full, we're talking like 1,300 FUD or something like that produced. So
Yeah,
it's
there's a
doing
lot.
that like twice a day or something like that.
Have we gotten any closer, Dan, to figuring out like if we're gonna do like a KYC or something like that to kind of get in? I know you had talked about that.
Actually, yeah, I can't share too much about it, but I was having a convo with someone from the Lens team. They're planning to. There's like a big kind of eyeball or face verification integration that they're working on sounds very similar to Governor DAO. And I don't know what the status on Governor DAO is these days, but these guys, it might get to market before them. It sounds pretty promising, and it's really the main question is obviously, are they storing people's faces and stuff on their servers? And they say
That's what I was
no.
wondering. Eyeball. That's kind of scary.
Well, I mean, when you're walking around New York City on the subway, they have everyone's eyeballs now anyway. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
no,
I
you're
don't think
right.
it really matters anymore.
They got you in your facial recognition anyways. All this stuff that they've been putting into your phone and everything else. That's whatever, like TikTok and everything else.
What about what do we think about Polygon ID? I know they use a zero knowledge, they use zero knowledge proof to identify, and they don't actually use the data directly to verify your identity.
I still haven't gotten it to work. Have you guys gotten Polygon ID working on your phone yet?
I signed up for it, but I haven't really got it to work either. But I hope they're kind of working. I mean, I'm sure they're working on that product, right? To get it to a place where it's working, functional.
You mean GDAO? I mean, they are live, but last time we were chatting with them, they were saying they wanted to do some improvements to their like UI and UX flow before they wanted to go big with it.
Okay. PHI. Interesting.
So yeah, I mean, the last time we talked about it, it was basically Gotchi Gang could log in and do everything with a Gotchi if you own it. But if you are renting a Gotchi, maybe you need to do some sort of human verification. But at the end, I mean, it's questionable how well it's actually going to solve things, because people can just sell their identities online, and they will. There will be a bunch of people just going on and like signing up for it, and then there'll be some sort of wallet trading service where you can pay for the private key to access someone's wallet, kind of.
I mean,
Now, would they have to have multiple wallets to use that feature, or how would they implement having all of those accounts and not being stopped?
They would basically they would need an unlimited amount of humans or like a large amount of humans to basically do that. So when one account got banned, they would just get another account.
Okay, that makes sense. So,
which is not bad. I mean, there's 8 billion humans out there, so I don't know how. There's probably a lot of people that are willing to do it for like $20.
Yeah, I saw mine for like 30, bro. So just kidding. I'm having a hard time right now, so
We'll do a GBM auction for it for your eyeballs.
yeah, that was another question. I know I talked to a couple people about that. It's supposed to be coming like this month, right, or early next month for the GBM auction, the V2 launch.
Yes. Yeah, we are. It's really, really close. It's just the whole V2 is a big undertaking. It's a lot of code to move over, so it's just taking quite a while.
I really like the fact that you'll be able to bid on stuff instead of having to just throw it up there and it costs you money each time to try and adjust it. And to be honest with you, I don't know if it's a glitch or not, but your thing will not allow the price to be adjusted without pulling it off the market, and usually it did. So I don't know if that's a bug.
For what items?
When
Any
when
item?
when you adjust like your land or your gotchi price and everything, I think it's just the wearables. It's one of the three that you adjust, and you're able to put a new price in. And normally you could just click the button and it would jump to the new price, but now I got to do two different transactions.
Okay, yeah, we'll look into that. That's you should be able to for ERC 1155s. I don't think you can change the price. I think we removed that because that would be an attack vector for people. Do you guys
Okay.
remember before? Were you able to change the price on something
I've
and like
never been
make it?
able to change the price on
Yeah,
wearables. I always had to
yeah, yeah,
delist.
yeah. So I think that's normal.
There was one thing, I think it was the land or the gotchis that I was able to change the price without backing out of it.
Yeah, I think maybe the gotchis. I think you can't change it down, or you can't move it up. You can only move it down. I think.
Yep, and now down's not even working.
Okay, well that's probably a bug.
Yeah. Any other big alpha today?
Let's see.
Always
Just a whole
alpha.
bunch of I collected on my land.
Actually, something that you guys might have some alpha on is you briefly mentioned we're going to be implementing a feature where we'll be able to do our own little mini spillover. We'll be able to drop Alchemica. Do we have like any? Could you give any more details on kind of how that's going to work?
Not currently yet.
Okay.
That feature's still a bit out. But I mean it's pretty much as it sounds. You'll be able to have some Alchemica in your pocket and basically drop it for people to pick up. But exactly what and how that's going to work is something we're still kind of planning out the user stories for. But that definitely is kind of a cool feature that we plan to add.
It will
Do
be.
you have, sorry, any info on like, I guess when we might see the first event for observers?
When everything is the art release is going out, at aiming for October early ish. And so, what do you mean by event? Just like allowing observers to come in?
Well, I figure like once that feature's launched, you're probably like you guys usually throw a party or like a Twitter space, something that happens like to kind of like,
Mhm.
ooh, the event's happening. So I wonder if there's going to be something like that.
That's going to be launched before the the NFTs can be put on your property, right?
They're pretty much all going to come at the same time. They're all part of the art release. So the art release is NFT display, observer mode, bounce gate, and fake gotchis, of course, will go along with that. It's going to be a big release. Very exciting. The biggest release since the last one.
Pepinardo is officially part of Gotchi Gang. He joined the 8-Bit Gamers Guild after the space, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's part of Gotchi Gang now.
That's dope.
Does he have a gotcha yet?
He does. It looks very sus. That's exciting, seeing artists come here that are well known in the space being like, dang, I need to be part of this and get a gotchi and make some art. I think we're going to see a lot more of that.
I agree, man. It's going to be really cool seeing this whole new group of people coming in and getting excited about Aavegotchi. That's what this release is all about.
It really is the gotcha-sans. There's no better way to describe it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch also because, these artists are big in other communities as well. So I feel like those pieces might be actually hard to get, or they're gonna be, expensive. So I'm like really looking forward to seeing like kind of what kind of traction they draw in, because I'm sure that like people who aren't Gotchi Gang are gonna want to collect those pieces because they're coming from these iconic artists in the fake.
It's cool because if you see Pepinardo's work there, that's actually an oil painting in real life. He's an oil painter, so that was actually like a physical painting, and then made into an NFT.
Wow. So he's got the actual painting like hanging somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a physical of that. Maybe that's some sort of a, that goes up.
I mean,
Oh, most
really
of his
all
work. Okay, Jesse, that's a clarification. Most of his works, not the gotchi ones. Maybe that was
Okay.
a digital oil painting. It almost looks like an oil painting. But
Yeah.
I have two of his other works, the Pepe ones. I posted them in the chat. I gotta add to my collection. Oh, Jesse, yeah, you actually saw his physicals because you were probably at Frogs Over Fiat, right, in NFT NYC.
Yeah, I did too, man. That's all his stuff right there.
Yeah, I posted some of the stuff there, some of his work.
It's pretty cool, man. Given it the right person comes into Aavegotchi, could bring millions of people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I really like the focus on quality right now, right? Like we could have millions of people if we wanted to. We would make the game in a way that, farming's really profitable for anybody, appealing for scholars to come in and and take that and then, kind of what Axie did. That's how they scaled. They basically bootstrapped their game by giving away a bunch of money.
Like, infinity is literally in their name.
Yes, they give an infinite amount of money away till the game grew. But then what happened is everything collapsed because it was just unsustainable model, and that's not what we're trying to go for, right? I really appreciate the.
I'm not, yeah, I'm not talking about that at all. I'm just talking about like a million observers just to come in,
Oh yeah,
check out. You know what I mean? I mean, when you just have a bunch of people looking into the game, you got a million people looking at it because of one artist. How many of those million could join the game? You know, I mean, it's just with art itself in the world and history, one right thing can change everything.
I guess that was my point that I was trying to get at. There's an emphasis on quality when we're building, and I really, I kind of appreciate that because I don't think every project looks at that. Sometimes growth is prioritized over quality. So
I mean, there's a time for growth when you just want to go balls deep and try to like chuck a bunch of money at it. But I don't think that in general, I don't think crypto is quite there yet in terms of like product market fit. It's just you're not going to be able to attract a bunch of normies to your game yet. But we're we'll get there as a space, and Aavegotchi I'm sure will play a part in that.
During
But it's
District
like
420. Oh, sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we were talking about during District 420 how like the dream of like eventually like a real in real life arcade full of like mini games, and because theoretically you could set up an arcade machine for the Gotchiverse, and then Hefe was talking about like how some crypto vending machines give you like a new wallet whenever you go. So it'd be like just dreaming of the world we're in where we get to see a like an Aavegotchi kind of arcade game or like a place in real life where there's a whole bunch of them and you could play all the mini games and all these different experiences in the Gotchiverse, and it would just be really cool.
yeah, no, I guess the idea I had there is the way it would work is you would go to an arcade, right? The arcade platform or some sort of arcade platform developed between Aavegotchi DAO and Pixelcraft that would be licensed out maybe to some arcade machine builder who would be able to create this, and then you would have it in like a rec room or barcade, and you can walk up to this thing and start playing in the Gotchiverse, or you can play the mini games and you can start earning whatever alchemica or whatever rewards. And then at the end of your play session, it would print out, if you don't have a wallet to transfer to, it would print out your seed phrase. It would generate a wallet and print out a seed phrase for you. You would take the seed phrase home, you'd punch it in the computer, and now you'd have your wallet set up with your earnings from that play session. And you'd be part of Web3 because you now have a wallet that's funded with whatever you earned, right? And so that's kind of how that would maybe work. But yeah, maybe we're not there yet. But I think, a lot of the times when you go to an arcade, the prizes are bullshit anyway. So I might as well earn some Alchemica.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Cool Cats did it in New York, and it worked really nicely because it brought in all of these people who had no idea what a Cool Cat was, but just saw this, the brand, and they basically gave out these bands that were like RF chip bands that you would win milk for playing the games, and you could, at the end of it, redeem merchandise. But they kept their merch store was open to everyone, so if you didn't earn any points, you could still buy the merch, and they sold tons of merch. So it's like it was that first glimpse of like, oh, why are like more people not doing this? Because I think it makes it much easier to onboard people if they can go into a place and like touch and feel like a gaming experience, and they're like, oh, this is all Web3. This doesn't look Web3. This doesn't feel Web3, but it is. So it could, and then the prizes would be better than the 5,000 points for like a Tootsie Roll or something like that. Well, so I feel like those pieces might be actually hard to get.
What do we have here with this sushi piece? What is this?
That's a lens collect made by Soju.
Oh, nice.
Well, so yeah, shout out to Soju. They made a piece inspired by me that is like beautiful. It's this like it's the same kind of gachi that he or she draws, but it's like in the format of one of my live streams. So it looks like my live stream screen, except that I'm like a gachi talking on a mic, and like I have traits at the bottom. Like one is there's a camera, which is a +1 brain, a like DJ console, which is I think I forgot what it was, +1 energy, and then like a bong, a -1 aggression. It's just a cool little animation. It's on Twitter, and I retweeted it, but it's beautiful. Let me see if I can find it and then post it in here.
Yeah, if you guys want that sushi piece, there's 9 left on Lens to collect, I think, so you can go check that out. I've been collecting all of Soju's stuff. Look at that. That was inspired by No Future. That's a card.
Awesome.
Yeah, and that I really appreciate that, because it was like the fact that I can inspire art in any way is like, that's the whole goal, right? To like affect people in some way. So I see this and it made me really proud, and I really appreciate it, bro.
Does anyone have the NFT contract address for these things? I'd be curious to see what it looks like on chain. Is it because I think we talked about this last week for the NFT display. We'd love to be able to support some like Lens art at some point, but like every contract on Lens is a separate contract address, I think, right? Like each NFT.
Yeah, I think so. Each one's kind of uploaded to Arweave on its own thing, and then it's its own NFT. But yeah, they're stored on Arweave. There's an Arweave transaction thing and an NFT address.
Yeah, that's the metadata, but like the actual contract address itself.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like, can you find them on OpenSea?
They should be able to display on OpenSea, because when I look in my wallet, I can see them.
So I just posted for Soju sushi piece. This is the contract address listed in OpenSea. So I'm gonna go see if I can find another piece by a different artist from Lens and see if it's the same one.
It's like, yeah, it's literally each token is like its own token. If you click into it, it's called not gonna make it .lens collect 23 not G CI 23. It's like very, very long name. Collect NFT is the contract address. It's like it's a proxy. So it's a factory basically, which makes it kind of tricky to support every piece of art.
I was thinking, we talk about fake gotchis and having some sort of restrictive process for creating Aavegotchi art, but maybe the place where we can have Lens plug into would be the lodges, and then that way you would have a little bit more free reign on what you want to show, and it wouldn't really affect the aesthetics of the Gotchiverse. Like, you could show off some posts. You could show off, some random, could be NFTs from Aavegotchi, could be other NFTs inside the lodge. Kind of, you have like a whiteboard style kind of installation or something that goes inside of your lodge, and that's like a Lens feed. or something, where the lens DAP actually plugs into the lodge. Maybe that
That
would,
could be pretty cool.
yeah. You would have these modules, you'd have a lens module that plugs into the lodge, or you'd have like some other, I know lens is a ecosystem, right? So they have different dApps. They actually have like different ones for like memes. They have some that are, like a YouTube, like LensTube. So all these dApps could be like their own modules, and then the modules plug into the lodge based on, how you want to design it on the inside. Yeah, I mean, I don't say really restrictive, but more so giving people a guideline, to make a theme around the art. So, it has to be Aavegotchi themed,
Yeah, it's a
like,
bit more curated.
yeah,
I think
curated,
you're.
I
I think
say.
I agree. It makes sense to have, like, we don't want all crazy art that's ever existed in all forms to be displayed, because we all know what that leads to, like on the main UI. But in the lodge, that's an interesting idea to have it have like an NFT display in the lodge, basically.
It'd be like your personalized little gotchi home, right? Like
Mm.
we don't
Mhm.
show people the inside of our homes, but they're very much personalized to how we like them. Yeah, I wouldn't say fakes are restrictive. Actually, I'll say maybe they're more curated, because we want a certain aesthetic in the Gotchiverse, right? When we're walking around.
Only pics of dog gotchis playing pool for the lodge. Yeah. Let's see. So tomorrow we're gonna have the DAO discussion and talk about the priority points decay. If you guys are following that discussion, it's something we got to wrap up probably pretty quickly here. So is that on the docket for tomorrow, Hefe?
Yeah, we'll discuss that.
Cool. I won't go over it tonight then.
Yeah, we'll cover that tomorrow.
And there
So
was a
balance
change in the
beams.
Gotchiverse. I think we forgot to mention it in the change log, but there's when you're spawning, there's actually like a new filter, or like a it's like a checkbox for owned and borrowed. I don't know if you guys did you guys see that? You're out asking for some alpha earlier. You
Oh yeah,
can
I
you
did
can
see that.
is that helpful to you guys? What do you think of that feature?
I think it's very helpful because I sometimes borrow like 80 gotchis, and like for land especially, it's like kind of annoying to have to look through everything. So like having that in the land filtering also helps so much.
And you can also sort by altar level, which is pretty cool. It doesn't tell you what level it is, but you can search by altar level. Pretty sweet. Little quality of life features that you guys have been asking for. We try to ship those whenever we have a little bit of time. Yeah, I don't think it's being saved yet. We need to store it on your local. That would be pretty cool. Hmm. It was a good week. We had the stimmies finally going out. How'd you guys do? You guys getting some fake gotchi cards?
Oh
Anyone
man,
anyone get more than one?
I'm getting two. I think Hefe, you're getting two, right?
I think I'll be getting two. So at least hopefully I can win some in the raffle, and So actually, so we have 1,000 that we're giving out for rarity farming. 1,500 will be raffled off, and then I guess that leaves a few more left there just for the summoning works, right? That's the full distribution.
Yeah, pretty much. I think we're gonna have Pixelcraft. We're gonna take like a couple dozen for ourselves in the future if we want to
Yeah.
like partner with a specific artist. But honestly, once we run out, we'll probably just buy them from the open market. But we
Yeah.
are gonna do a very tiny pre-mint so we can at least initially we have some to give away to people. I'm curious. What do you guys think the floor price is going to be on the fake gotchi cards when they first come out on the are listed on the bazaar?
Well, I mean, they'll have value with the raffle, right? Kind of how the other things gave it value.
Yeah, the raffle. Well, we're not going to list them in the bazaar until the raffle is over. So we're gonna kind of discover the value of them during the raffle based on how many tickets people put in.
Yeah, we were discussing that a little bit because it's like it'll be interesting to see the number of drop tickets that get dropped in, and then like if the play is to hold on to drop tickets for future raffles or to go hard. Like I'm going hard into this one, but we were also discussing it's interesting because you have your 5 summoning pieces, and 2 of them are from pretty prominent artists outside of the community that will I think draw a lot of people. So like we were discussing like if those pieces, if these first 5 summoning pieces do really well, then the value of an unminted, unused fake Gachi card could soar pretty quickly. And then, depending on how the next drops go, we'll see if it's just a hype cycle at the beginning or if it like stabilizes. I think long term it's going to be great. So either way, I'm trying to grab as many as possible because if you can create a piece that looks good and people like, then it's worth it. Depending on the price of the fake Gachi cards, I would say I could see them going for a few hundred ghost at least when they first hit the bazaar, and then maybe trending down a little bit after we get a release of that the initial summoning pieces. But if those initial summoning pieces do really well, we could see that floor soar. So it's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah, I agree with Jesse. It also depends what kind of art people are doing. If they're doing like quick, like kind of lazy AI kind of stuff, it's not going to be that exciting. But if each piece is quality and adds to the collection, and the community is kind of doing their review that they should be, then I think that'll also give a lot of value to the fake Gachi collection as a whole. Like we don't want to have two. Like one of our rules is, or we want to stick to is, don't make it low effort. It should be a quality piece that everyone in the collection should be proud to have.
Do you think that maybe it could be DAO approved? Like there could be a mechanism to where the artwork actually has to be approved by the whole DAO because that's who it's going to be affecting, right?
We're not that would take a ton of work to do from the DAO side, but we do have the queue, and if 10 people do an on-chain transaction to flag it, it will basically stop in the queue and then need to be manually reviewed by Pixelcraft currently, and eventually, I definitely think we could have some sort of art, fake gotchis task force that the DAO and trusts do quality control on those kind of pieces. And obviously, there's a potential that people are just going to flag every piece just for fun. So we are kind of prepared for that. But hopefully, hopefully people will be reasonable at least at the beginning, and
Yeah.
eventually there might be some sort of flashing or a staking system to kind of
Yeah.
reduce that. But we're not going to have that in place at the beginning. So hopefully everyone will, play nice at the beginning.
And having one or two huge names inside doing something could bring more huge names and I mean really propel the price of those, the price of the rare cards or whatever they're called.
Yeah, and we think near future. You said the 5 summoning works there. I think the hopefully the piece was fairly clear. Like there are more than 5 summoning works. There's going to be we're going to be putting some more pieces will be announced next week as well.
Oh, I meant to say the 5, like the Genesis 5, like that Genesis block of work that's coming out. Those first 5.
Yeah, I think the way I have to confirm with Golden Cross, but I think there's going to be more than 5 in like the first round. They're all going to kind of come out together. Yeah. It's not
Okay,
gonna,
cool. That's good to know.
those 5 were just a sneak peek, a preview of the summoning works, but there are more than 5 that'll be coming out. We have a whole lineup of artists that are kind of ready and have pieces ready.
I gotta get that Zbot card number 1, because that's gonna be like that's our rare Pepe right there. That's our first shelling point there for the whole collection. So I think that's significant.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see, and it's kind of deflationary as well. There's 2,535 total, so every time someone makes a card, they're burning it, and if the collection is good and it has value, then the floor price should kind of rise up for the cards over time, kind of like a portal.
Not only will it raise the price of different things, but it'll raise the price of the land, because you could have a piece of land that's right next to a huge freaking artist, and what does that make your land worth now?
True,
100%.
yeah.
So I like to just think about different value that all of this brings into the game, that maybe over the time that this has been created, I've seen some things lose value or some hiccups that cost people money, and hopefully this can put back some of that value.
I'll say though, with the art, I would be careful not to over speculate on things, especially if you don't like the specific artwork that you're collecting. Like a rule I have for buying any art is, if I don't feel that sense of like, if I'm not impressed the first time I look at it and I'm not like really into it the first time, I tend to not buy it, even though I know I could potentially make a lot of money. Because the downside is art can be very illiquid sometimes, and you might buy something thinking you can flip it in a month, and you might be sitting on it for a year or two before you actually get the value. So I would say, if you enjoy the art, collect that. And if it gains value over time, you'll have to decide, how much you like it. At what price are you willing to let it go, right? And so that's a little easier to rest, to enjoy the art, display it, and just hang diamond hand it if you enjoy it, rather than if you don't. That would be my advice.
I got something that I was thinking about. Would I be able to do an auction with my Thrax piece for Thrax to kind of benefit him and his hack? Could I like auction that off? Would you guys help me with that in the GMI?
We could set something up, like, what are you talking about, like a fake gotchi card, or like if you make a art piece?
No, I'm actually talking about, doing a whole art piece and then auctioning it off for Thrax. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
For
yeah,
in the
absolutely.
future, I would
For
like
sure.
to do that. And if anybody out there wants to collab, on that piece of art to help Thrax, let me know. That could be one of the first, cards used. So to help the crew.
We'll make Thrax make it.
Okay, perfect.
I'm just kidding. I don't know. We'll find someone. We'll find someone. It'll be
I
good.
think it definitely, maybe not just me, but maybe somebody else could do one too to help them out.
Yeah.
I just know
Yeah,
that this
that'll be good.
community has grown and gotten big, and through helping each other and through being friendly and through, seeing people through some heartaches, like Goobs and everybody else. So.
Quick question. I'm just kind of obsessed now because you said stuff, and now I need to like clarify, Coder Dan. So you have there are going to be additional summoning works. Can you tell us anything about any of the other pieces, or just anything?
I think we'll be kind of dripping them out over the next couple weeks.
Any
But,
artists
I can say you've definitely heard of the artist, at least like one of them, at least. I mean, probably a lot of them, but especially one of them. And you guys might already have some of their pieces.
Ben
And
Lagan.
well, they're not. Well, Ben Lagan was already kind of mentioned in the first piece.
Is it
Okay.
Banksy?
X copy?
I'm not gonna say who it is.
X copy.
Banksy.
All right.
Banksy. Gotta have some original Banksies in the Citadel.
Banksy would be amazing.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. If anybody can, do anything to connect to anybody that's famous in the art world to bring them in, anybody out there, that would be great. I reach out to people every day trying to see if I can reach anybody. So
Check out the Tezos ecosystem. I've been talking to artists on Tezos because I've been collecting their art, and there's a lot of artists there from artists you've never heard of, but they've created some incredible stuff, and definitely go check out that ecosystem, the Tezos blockchain.
Well, it doesn't just have to be digital artists too. If you guys know actual artists in the real world that are famous, you know what I mean? You could try to get them involved into NFTs because a lot of artists know what it is and just don't know exactly how to get in. This would be a great way to bring people in to the digital artwork.
Well, to speak like what Jesse said above in the text, like kind of got me started me thinking here, and like we're talking about like if we are producing, like we're the person that's gonna be like the patron for the art. It's like maybe I should focus, like maybe it'd be wise to start looking to other communities that I know and find those artists. Like if I find a Cool Cats artist to come over and do a piece, that would probably drive a whole bunch of Cool Cats over here, and that would be probably a good use of the card versus like trying to do something low effort on my end. So it might be wise to now it's got me thinking maybe I should be reaching out to people outside of the community, artists, and say, hey, come over here, here's the like a blank slate, this Aavegotchi, do something cool with it.
Well, that's the whole reason we designed this unique smart contract where we have two roles, right? Because we looked around, we were like, all right, if we do this, there's a handful of super talented, legit artists in our community, but these cards are going to go to 1,000, 2,000 people. So the thought was, how do we get it where incentives are aligned, where Gotchi Gang is involved in this, like literally like aligned with the royalties? And so if anybody's listening and doesn't know, it's like if you have a card, but you're not an artist, it's okay. You're good to go. Like you can either rally with your guild or you as an individual could start basically your own collection within the collection by recruiting artists to publish under your publishing name. So when you go to fakegotchis.com or the bazaar, instead of searching for different series like you do with like Fake Rares, you're going to be searching for different publishers. So it's like, oh, no, Futuristic, he's got one of the best curated collections in the wider Fake Gotchi collection. So like that's the publisher I vibe with. And so everybody gets to be a curator in their own way that way. So yeah, I think that's something to at least be aware of, right? Whether or not you want to go that route, it's certainly good to be aware that you can play a big role. And if you're recognized as one of the better curators, the works published under you are going to do well. There will be probably some publishers that don't do well or don't have much demand, and then there'll be others that are just like, yep, they have the reputation, they're delivering like amazing works with amazing artists and collaborations. So yeah, no, Futuristic, that's what that's one way to go. And first step is just everybody should be aware of that option.
Yeah, I have to say I love this game. Every time I think that I can't find a new hustle, there's something that is thrown in. It's like, oh, that's a new way to like earn. That's so awesome.
I think I talked about it before, but also as a publisher, you might, one of your kind of like competitive advantages might be, oh, I have like a really nice parcel in a nice location. I have a great way to display your artwork, and I can move it maybe faster than other publishers, like a traditional art gallery would do.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, that's like the next layer. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say it all plays together because it's like, all right, now your parcel, you want to have the art, you want to have the parcel with the displays, and then you want to have a bounce gate and then an event to draw them there. So it's like it's like building a whole thing where it's like piece by piece by piece. You could build it all separately and do it, but if you really like organize this, it could be like a really fun event driven kind of thing where you can also, be a gallery owner and also the publisher of the art. That's kind of, how often can you do that in the real world?
Exactly. So everybody can have a role. Like guilds or art DAOs could get together and like put their cards together to have their own curation rules, or voting on which pieces they want to publish. And obviously the individual way is fast and agile too. So pretty cool.
I wonder right now, and we're looking at the Citadel. Ideally, like we were saying, that we're going to eventually leave the industrial period of the Gotchiverse and then into the art period. It'd probably be, like we were talking about, as in like at the end of the game when there's no more, like when I guess all 9 rounds are done, there's no more, alchemica in the ground for these things. And we're in like, we've moved from industrial into the art part of it. But if we're looking at the Citadel right now, based on like the very early days, do we have an idea of which district is really like becoming the prominent art district? Is there a single district that has like more, designs for this contest or in general that anybody has noticed? Anybody that's up here on the stage, have you seen anything that you're like, yeah, District 28, that's the art district right now? Like, where is it?
District 12. District 12. That's what I would say.
Is that unbiased because it's GMI?
Or no, there's 8-Bit Gamers Guild, right? They're gonna be known. I mean, we don't know that yet, but they're gonna be known as the art guild in the Gotchiverse, I think.
One of the big ones for sure. I mean, they brought in Pepernardo, right? So already it's just like, okay, and Dark Farms. So both of them announced. It's just like 8-Bit Guild is definitely at that crossroads between fake rares, Pepe, and Gotchis. So that's definitely one.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna be one, and you make a good point. I think there'll be many different art districts.
I hope GMI or other guilds, maybe Portal Mages. I expect there'll be a lot of champions that emerge.
I mean, Aavegotchi, we always knew were the ultimate kind of expression for creativity. There was it's almost like Pepe in the way that it's a blank slate. There's the Aavegotchis themselves aren't super detailed, but that also allows for a lot of room for creativity and different art forms to try and recreate the Aavegotchi in a different style.
Yeah, one thing I was gonna say earlier, that you guys kind of touched on it, but the fake gotchi cards are perfect for if there's like a project that wants to do a very like light collab with Aavegotchi. They could buy a card and they could do like an art, like kind of a remix of their logo and an Aavegotchi somehow, and just have that in the collection. It's good advertising for them. I was chatting with a guy here in my city here in China. And they're quite a big art firm. I was like, they have this pretty cool IP. I was like, you guys should, make a piece based on some sort of collaboration between your IP and an Aavegotchi. It'd be pretty cool. So those kind of collaborations could turn out to be really powerful. And it's a very like simple and easy way for these two parties to work together with each other, because the rules of the collection are so clear.
Yeah, I mean, that just got me thinking. It's like, because I'm friends with some of the cool cats, like creators, like the artists themselves. So I think I'm gonna send them a DM and I'm like, yo, can we get Aavegotchi in your style, like, and that be potentially a fake Gotchi card if if you make something dope. Because I know like if like they just had a comic book sale that sold out really quickly. They used it as a burn for milk. They ended up burning like 178 million milk in like less than a day because they minted 2,500 of these like special comics that you can only get in the game. So I wonder, stuff like that. I could see if they did a Aavegotchi Cool Cats kind of cross, that would do very well. So I'll see. I'll message him and see what he says.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's another cool angle. There's so much collaboration opportunity. What do you guys think about remixes in art? And like, what if the other party doesn't know you're remixing them, for example? That would be different, right?
What do you
That'd be
mean?
like
Like
a
taking someone else's piece and like changing it?
Yeah, like if you take somebody else's piece of art and then you modify it in a subtle way, in any way, but like if it's Pepe Lisa, that's obviously Mona Lisa. Everybody knows. But if you buy a piece thinking it's amazing and it's, standing on its own merits, and you don't mention that you are actually remixing, if it's not like stated, that could be a bit of a bummer, right?
it could state that it's derivative, maybe.
Maybe in the piece's caption it states that, like, because I was thinking when you said that, the first thing I thought would be like a Last Supper, but the Aavegotchi Last Supper, and like you have all these gotchis at the table and they're kind of arranged, and maybe I don't know who would be in the middle, but it would be an interesting piece, and maybe in the caption it just says, it's the Aavegotchi Last Supper inspired by, so that there's, it's pretty clear.
Well, like the Last Supper and like those are, and like the
They're
Mona
so
Lisa,
famous.
those are famous pieces. It's more like, if there's some random like piece that you see, and no one's ever really heard of it. It's a small following, and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. That could be a fake gotchi. Let me remix it a bit. How do we feel as a community on that kind of behavior? Should they give like credit to the original artist in the piece or artists?
They could also get like sued if the artist is still active. I'll give you an example. Like the one above Soju, that looks great. Everybody knows what that's referencing. That's a cultural reference. I don't think that's not what we're talking about. Because like the third rule is you have to be original, no low effort, right? So, I mean, let's look at an example here. Ben Loggins here, he just made a face. I spent all week like pushing this piece at the Crypto Art Week in Asia, trying to get it showcased, right? Touch the Grass. Absolutely incredible piece, right? What's incredible about it? The melancholy feel it gives you, right? Obviously, the characters are great too. Now, does anybody recognize it? Yeah, it has the Miyazaki vibes, sure, but it's not Miyazaki. You know who actually it is? And I had to learn about it a couple hours ago. Let me show you guys. Hayao Gonosuke. So maybe not Thrax. Maybe Bin Laden could tell us more about that. But right now, I think it's like a bit disingenuous. You guys tell me what you think. Here's the original. Oof, that's how I felt.
Oh, the grass is like pretty much. Well, it's like the grass looks a little bit different, but it looks pretty similar.
Yeah, I get repainting as a thing. I see it as deception because, like, I spent the whole week pushing this, and Bin Laden, I asked you many times to explain your work, share it with me. You told me you're working on, experimenting with the environment. You traced the environment. You experimented with your two characters, but like to me, very disappointing. Now I may be wrong, but yeah, I get like steal like an artist, but you should at least acknowledge where it came from. You had many chances. Has anybody seen this? Bit of a bummer. Yeah, Billy Bishop, I have to agree with you. We put it in the summoning works. We could have put anybody's work in there. Rule 3 is be original. So we're just starting this. You're kind of undermining the whole project. It's pretty selfish from my point of view. Now, I could have my mind changed, but that's the way I see it. I was not happy to get this news the other day. And somebody from Gotcha Gang brought it up.
How did you even find that?
I didn't
Like, who
find
is
it.
this guy?
Somebody else from Gotchi Gang brought it up. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want their name, but it's like it's not that hard. Reverse image search and you'll find it.
Yeah, if you put it into Google, can you just like can you see the original image?
I don't know. I didn't have to. Somebody else did it. Soju asking the important questions. What Pokemon is that? It's like, guys, like there's only 3 rules. Be original, you know. We put in the summoning works. Bit of a bummer. But yeah, steal like an artist, I guess.
I think original is key though. That has to be something Master Yang said. You know, that's kind of stuck with me is when you're making the fake Gotchi card. Think about the impact it's gonna have on the culture of Aavegotchi. You know, is it maybe it tells a story or maybe it has. I see the originality aspect of it would add actually extra value to the card. You know what I mean?
To me, like it was an amazing piece. I was blown away, and I had no idea, and it was never presented as anything but an original. That's the problem. I was like, damn, this is next level shit. Like Ben Lagan's been holding back, and now it's like, oh, actually, like all that melancholy, where that's the amazing part, the achievement. Oh, that was already baked in. It's just like that's how I see it. So going forward, guys, like we're gonna do fake gotchis together. I don't want to get off on the wrong foot, but it's got to be mentioned, and we got to talk about it.
And this is kind of one of the functions of the queue, right? Like people are gonna be, well, there might be people out there like looking at every piece and kind of scrutinizing it before they flag it. Then there's gonna be people that just flag everything. But that's kind of the function of the queue. And if it does get flagged, we'll be looking at it, and eventually this will be probably a DAO committee because we don't want to be like scrutinizing art all day. But it is important that we get this collection off kind of on the right foot. And
and I don't want to email. I don't want a cease and desist email at Pixelcraft Studios from what's the original artist's name? Like 75,000 likes on Instagram. I don't need that in my life. So, heads up.
Yeah, I mean that's where it could get hairy, right? But like Bin Laden has made another piece called Gotchica, and that was inspired by Picasso's Guernica. Well, of course, Picasso isn't around, and there have been many derivatives of his work, and he took a Gotchi version of it. But when we looked at it, that's what we knew it was. It's like, okay, this is a rendition of Guernica. It's a play on that. It's a Gotchi play on that.
No doubt. Yeah.
So that was a different angle.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just different if you're misrepresenting, like, if you're coming at me saying, oh, yeah, tell the guys at Crypto Art Week I'm, like, experimenting with environments. It's like, you're really leaving me out on a limb. I got to go talk to them now. That's like, actually, this is a derivative. I'll leave it at that.
I guess if it crosses the line where the artist isn't like their art isn't really for commercial or like reproduction, and someone reproduces it with too much fidelity to the original, then that could be tricky. Like you said, we might get an email from someone saying, hey, you need to take my art down because I didn't give you guys license to use this piece. Just because it's on the internet doesn't mean you can like reproduce it. And if it's there's obviously a difference between Picasso or the Mona Lisa and some guy on Instagram that's just like making art and no one really knows about him except for his followers.
Yeah, I mean, and I see Bin Laden's reply here. I got a reply too. So, I mean, the way I'm looking back, I'm looking at our DMs here, and if you don't mind, like, my exact words were, we want to tweet about this because we're highlighting all the summoning pieces. Could you tell us something about the creative process that went to touch the grass? Something people should know that we can use for the tweet. And he goes on with experimenting with methods, blah, blah, blah. The next thing I reply is, well, this piece is on another level. Those clouds on that angle in the hill up to meet it, just yeesh. I'm saying it's amazing. He says, appreciate it. You know, sorry, I take it personal at that point. It's more about the deception, Bin Laden. Like, you can do whatever you want, but you should give credit where credit's due. I don't know. I think we're on different pages, man. No deception.
I mean, you can practice it, but was this piece intended to be a fake Gotchi's piece?
Yeah. I don't know what he's talking about right now. He DM'd that to me, literally saying, I'm working on it, it's work in progress. This can be the first fake Gotchi I do. Because I told him, like, dude, you're definitely in. You're getting a fake Gotchi card. You're in the summoning works. That's 2-3 weeks ago. So anyway, guys, heads up. I mean, it's Bin Laden and what you're doing. I haven't looked into your other pieces. I hope you know, if that's what you do, fine, but you should make it up front so people know. Because I would be pissed if I paid top dollar for that and then find out, oh, it's a derivative, but it was never explained. So.
Yeah, important question.
Hangout.
I was gonna say important question to ask. You know, when you're making your fake Gotchi pieces, maybe just ask yourself, is this gonna cause any IP issues? And if it is, how do I deal with that? Because that is probably something we want to avoid altogether. You know, overall going into this project, the last thing we want is people minting fake Gotchi cards and creating IP issues. You know, with other artists coming.
Two things. The IP, you're totally right. The other one that I think is even bigger is just be upfront about what you're doing. If it's a derivative, just say it's a derivative. Yeah. It's inspired by. A lot of artists do that. That's totally okay. Remixes have their place. But, you know, he's had a lot of chances now to mention that this was a remix. And nobody stepped forward and said they knew. So, kind of an obscure, very talented artist, and here we are. So yeah, just be original. I'd much rather collect talented, enthusiastic people making Aavegotchi inspired art because they're excited about it. You know, we got Gotchi Bulls, prolific. We just did a tweet about him yesterday. He's doing really cool Aavegotchi hand-drawn art. It's got a lot of personality. And I'm much more apt to collect that now. Compared to, I mean, I was anyway, but I mean, compared to something that's like the Bin Laden piece.
Yeah, I just want to say shout out to Gotchi Bulls. Those thick Gotchis hit different.
Dude, he's on a warpath. He's doing good. We gotta show that tweet from the other day. This what is it? The Maroon 5 guy? Oh my gosh. That meme. Has everybody seen that? We were dying in the office the other day in the Discord putting that together. One of the guys on the team is pretty young. He's also not from the US. Maybe it helped a bit. He was like, what's his name? I can't think of his name now. The Maroon 5 guy. He's in all sorts of hot water.
Adam Levine?
Yeah. They're like, oh, who's Adam Levine? What are you guys talking about? It's like, oh, I'm like tongue in cheek. I'm like, no, dude, he was like the lead singer of Coldplay back in the day. So funny. We gotta get the tweet up here, drop it in the chat.
Hardcore says he thinks the entire internet was IP sus. Humans stopped making new stuff in the 90s. I mean, that's not true. Like, art is, if someone makes an art piece and puts it on their Instagram and says, like, this is my art that I made, they might not be the original thought. Like, obviously someone has thought of a character sitting on a grassy hill, but the way that you do it is your creativity. And if someone takes that and does it pretty much the exact same way and just changes the centerpiece of it, but everything else stays the same, that's the artist, if they ever see it, they'd be like, oh bro, this guy, he took my thing and now he's like selling it for $1,000 or something with on this Aavegotchi platform I've never heard of. So it's probably like just not a great idea to do that. You can be inspired by someone's art, but you should still try to create your own stuff with the same theme.
It's interesting because Gary Vee actually suffered the same issue. He had put out some collection that he was saying was his own art, and then someone discovered that this like little obscure like artist, this older woman, basically all of the art was just ripped right from her books. And they actually, Twitter, detectives contacted her, and it became a whole thing. I don't know how it ended up, but it was very clear that the art was just completely like stolen. And Gary Vee was like, no, we had our research. There's no way this could have been stolen. And it's like, nah. If you look at the art, it's just clear that it's like a copy pasta kind of thing.
Is this Gary Vee doing that, or was someone taking Gary Vee's stuff and doing that?
Gary Vee was doing it. Like the art that he had, I think it was the second. I think it was V Friends 2. I'm not 100% sure, but I just remember it was several months ago on Twitter. It was like a big thing because everybody was like, Gary Vee's like so iconic in the space, and I mean, we can judge whether or debate if his art is really art because it is low effort as hell. But he like some of it was so low effort that he just stole it from somebody else, or that was the appearance.
Things are gonna
I
get
think it all
real.
comes back to.
Go
Sorry, I was
ahead.
just gonna say, I think it all comes back to authenticity. Like if you're upfront about what you're doing, there are authentic, awesome remixes. Pepe Lisa, amazing. Somebody mentioned Tamagotchi. Aavegotchi is obviously a hat tip, but in no way is it the same thing. So I don't think that's fair. And then you've got things like, hey, I've been showing this piece for a week, 10 days. Now it's in the Summoning Gotchis collection. Yeah, you were excited for it to be. You knew ahead of time, and you never once mentioned it was 95% inspired or directly traced from an original work from somebody else. So I think there's a difference there between authenticity and fraud. And so we just want everything to be authentic, wholehearted, sincere, and if people want to collect this stuff, great.
My piece will be authentic.
Gotcha, Amber. You're a very authentic
Logan,
person.
could you maybe explain like the creative process behind how you created it? As you said, it's not traced. I mean, it looks pretty similar to us.
I mean, I would love to know if it's not traced. What is it? You eyeballed it? Were you ever planning on drawing attention to the original artist? We know you haven't up till this point, but you could at least claim to have been intending to. Or you sincerely believe it's not necessary. That'd be interesting to know.
Who are we talking about? I'm high. I got a little lost.
I can drop them again so you don't have to scroll up so far.
I'd say
I think
like
it's good that we're having this convo like before
Yeah.
the collection gets out, because we did set some rules that we thought encompassed pretty much everything. And I mean, I would say this is we mentioned like no low effort kind of imitation kind of stuff, which before we knew that this guy's art existed, we were like, oh, we thought this was a quite high effort piece. Then now that we see it, it's like, oh, actually it's kind of, I mean, the effort was, I guess, on the samurai and the raffle, which is quite nicely done, but everything else looks like it's kind of copied from the other guy's piece, which makes it kind of would put it in that low effort kind of category.
There's another category that we should also address along with this sort of thing for low effort is we get a lot of people experimenting with Mid-Journey and AI stuff now. And I also think we should be, it's really easy to make stuff on Mid-Journey. You just put in some prompts and then it spits something out.
Low effort. Like
Yeah.
if it's obviously AI created and it's like really low effort stuff, if that gets flagged, we're probably gonna deny it because it's part of the rules. Like it's gotta be, you gotta put some work into these pieces. Otherwise, you're just bringing down the whole level of the collection. Like legitimate artists are not going to want to be part of a collection that's all AI created. That's just like, it's going to deter them. So if we want people to take us seriously as an art project, we need to create quality art ourselves.
We were
So
talking about
yeah.
this. We were talking about this at GMI because Rigo he does use AI as part of his work, but it's only a part of the process. A lot of the stuff he does is using like Photoshop and a few other things to create layers, and then he applies some sort of algorithm to make what he does for output. But then even looking at the outputs, I'm sure he probably looks at hundreds of these outputs before he finds the ones that he likes that actually make sense. And so looking at his process, I would say good AI art is probably actually harder to make than real art. If you know, even,
Oh,
yeah.
that's a
I
big
wouldn't go
statement.
that far. That's a little far. But
These
I would add,
artists, these guys go to school for 4 or 6 years. They go a lot longer with their mentorships and apprenticeships. I don't know. Like, you know, as
I
far as
guess,
the AI,
yeah, I
I
mean,
share a feeling that if it gets flagged because it is accused of being low effort, if it comes across the guides, like we're going to have a high standard. We want stuff that is, it could be AI and then you do the post stuff in Photoshop and Illustrator to make it even better. But if it's like, oh, I know instantly at looking at it that it's from this AI program or that AI program, if I can identify which AI program it's from, or it's just like clearly AI, it's probably low effort. Like it's got to really be exciting to the point that nobody's flagging it. I guess that's what the queue's for.
yeah, I guess I didn't mean to say it's harder because that's a skill, for art to create good artwork. But I guess what I'm saying is it's just as it's time consuming to actually go through that process, and people do have a pretty low bar of how quickly the AR art's produced, from the time it's produced to turned into an NFT. I don't think there's a whole lot of work that goes into a lot of those pieces in terms of like curation with your eyeball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. This is going to be a lot of experimentation and I think again, as long as you're upfront about what you're doing, like Rigo is always upfront that this was AI and his process. I go through millions of these things and I pick out the top 100. So it's a curation play. It's like, okay, that's maybe there's a market for that. Me personally, I'm probably not going to collect too many AI based pieces, but I could be wooed on a few. I actually already collected one, that samurai from Dr. Wagme. But that was more honestly because I like Dr. Wagme and the way his mind works. I want a representation of that. But yeah, it's going to be really open ended. Thrax just dropped a piece. Like obviously that is a derivative, a remix. That's totally fine.
Mine was not AI. I'll just say that right now.
If the market's going to be the final arbiter, right? If nobody's buying those, we're wasting good fake gachi cards on quick AI pieces or remixes. Then that's going to be what that's going to define the project to a certain extent. If that's what we want, we could do that route. It's a community collaborative piece collection.
Sorry, I was just going to ask because I was experimenting with some stuff, and I wonder how you guys feel. Not that this is like really a big thing, but I've been playing around with AI, and then I've actually started thinking like, what if I took the prompt from the AI and made it into a piece? Like I actually drew and took the physical effort of picking up a pen, pencils and stuff like that, and made a piece based off of the AI prompt. Is that also, would that be considered derivative? Because it's I mean, not that like that would be a thing, but I wonder, just asking this question, just because we're in this conversation, what would the feeling of that be? Because if you're taking the prompt like from, I guess, some other art that was just generated real quick, and then actually make something physical out of it, would that still be considered derivative?
Yeah, I guess it could be, but it sounds like probably not. It's something different. Like you're talking about the inputs for the AI, which is very interesting. So.
Well, I'm talking about the output. Like, say I prompt into the AI and it gives me an image, and then I take that image and then I go and replicate it, like, and I paint it and I put my own little spin on that image that I received from the AI.
I mean, first, I don't think anybody would know then, and second, I think it's totally a great tool for like people are using it for storyboards now, right? Like we need a quick mock-up of kind of what we're trying to do, and we need a lot of images quickly. They'll use it to storyboard, and then they'll go back and turn it into real paintings or real film or whatever it may be. So I think it would be more in that category, if I'm understanding you right. Yeah, the AI won't sue you yet, Lastern says. So I think you're okay there.
Okay, good. Because it's almost like, because then the question is like, in New York, there are famous like landmarks and stuff, and people take photos of them, people paint them, people take, draw them, whatever. So it's like that inspiration is there, but it's all this like, it's the same thing over and over and over again. Like me trying to sell pictures of the Flatiron Building, there's a million of them out there. So it's like, what makes my picture any different than just being another derivative piece,
Yeah, absolutely.
So the moral is just make something original.
Be original, and ultimately, like Dan said, the market will decide, right? If these things just aren't desired, then then that's a sign. Maybe I should stop making what I'm making, be a publisher instead. So
ideally, we don't need to get to that point where the market decides, oh, this is a crappy piece and no one wants to buy it. Because once it gets to that point, there's already like people are judging the collection at that point. They're going to say, oh, there's like, why are there so many low effort pieces that aren't selling? It's it already kind of reflects badly on the collection. So people should try to do the quality control before they, mint that piece. In the actual creation process, you should be thinking, is this piece going to represent the whole collection? Is it going to make the collection better? Is there something missing in the collection that it would be cool to fill with this piece? Like those are kind of questions you can be thinking of when you're kind of trying to make this piece and giving yourselves constraints, which will help create creativity, bring out the creativity.
I think it's a good point. Like this is literally, we're trying to achieve something that hasn't really been done. So like it's a community collaborative collection. That's really hard to do. So yeah, you want to contribute to kind of the greater good here.
One last question then, because it was another thought that I had. If one was to use AI art for the image, but like create music. So say if I wrote a song, like a original piece, made a song, but I used AI art to create the visual, would that be considered low effort?
Well, we're talking about two things. So there's crediting the original and being upfront about how you created what you created and what your intention is, and then there's the amount of effort that went into it. So we don't want the queue to get to the point where it's like tastemaker. It should just be, you look at those 3 rules, and if you feel it's violating one of those 3 rules, then you flag. So we don't have to get too into the weeds. We want everybody to have a lot of freedom. It's not supposed to be restrictive. It's just we need to decide what we want the collection to be, and hopefully very talented people are contributing. And if we want to just be a casual thing and not too high level, we can do that too.
I think there'll be this, people are really liking the Mid-Journey and experimenting with AI, and I think one of the things it's allowed is maybe someone who wasn't creative to actually explore a little bit and experiment with something that's giving them these outputs and it makes you feel good. But there's going to be this regression, eventually, movement backwards to hand-drawn art. Because I don't think, unless you program some AI to specifically create something that looks like it's hand-drawn, I don't know. I think there's something to be said about human imperfections in art. And I don't know if AI can replicate that yet, anyway. Probably not for a while. Because it's completely random, like the mistakes you make when you're hand-drawing something. I don't
think anybody said no AI. I think there'll be great pieces that get in that have AI as a part of it. But I don't know if just curation is enough by itself. I mean, maybe we'll see what the threshold is from the community. But if it gets flagged 10 times and then it's in front of a Pixelcraft, I think we have a pretty high standard. So if the flags are getting abused and everybody's just trolling every single thing that comes through, then we'll have to rethink how we do things with this. But hopefully everybody plays nice, and just we're a pretty tight community, so I don't think there's going to be a lot of abusive stuff until we really blow up.
Well, I mean, and there's a reason.
Flashing it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a reason why there's no AI generated fake rares or rare Pepes, is because every series, every piece that's curated goes through the rare scientists, and if they think it looks like bullshit, then it doesn't make it into the collection. That's basically it.
Well, that's pretty much the role that we and hopefully eventually some sort of task force can play, where we are saying, oh, this is just mid journey. Like it took someone spent 15 minutes to make this in mid journey, and like it's not worth it. It's not doesn't meet the bar, and that will deter people from doing that in the future if that card gets rejected. So we need to use the rejections wisely as well, like because the rejections will help us set the standard that we want to implement for the collection.
Yeah, and so speaking of rejections, I think it's pretty clear. Bin Laden's being a bit of a sophist here on his replies. A lot of wordplay. I'm watching the responses here. He goes, "Yeah, I guess you have a point. I'm trying to learn how to do landscape, so I just learn by making an 99% copy of another one." It's like, yeah, we're talking about credibility here. You're not addressing the main issue. Except I guess you're right. You might have a point. That's as close as he gets. And this whole bit about, I told you it was a work in progress. You were excited when I said we can put it in as a summoning work, and you explicitly wanted it to be. And the part you said was a work in progress, even that's being deceptive. You were saying the title was a work in progress. That's why in the blog, the title says, in parentheses, work in progress, because I took you at your word on that, and that's what we were talking about, not the piece itself. And if you're expecting me to believe the piece was going to change dramatically between what was published in the blog and where we are today, or on launch day, and there was going to be full credit to the other artist, it's clear that was not going to happen. You basically said as much, like you were not thinking to credit anybody. So, I mean, with that, like, we're not going to put this in the summoning works, 100%. And if you want to submit it with a card and try to get it past the community, and not get flagged 10 times, you can do that. But we have to curate this stuff, and there's no way we're publishing that without credit to the artist. And,
yeah, we don't want to get sued, guys. Like, if you think, is there a chance that someone's going to sue Pixelcraft or the DAO for this art, then probably shouldn't put that as a fake gachi card, because it is kind of commercial use of their art, because they're being sold for money.
Yeah. Hey, Billy Bishop asking another good question here. Billy's been on fire here in the chat. 3D animation, yeah, we do support. I think from day one, right, CoderDan, we'll be able to support with Arweave any file type basically you can think of. So if you want to do 3D animation and display it in an MP4 format, you could do that. Visuals and music together. If you want to do a GIF, MP3, I think you could. MP3 would be pretty boring, right? Because did we do the folders, Dan? Can they support 2 images at once, or 2 file types at once? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So what you're actually uploading to Arweave is a folder with the hash, and so what we're going to do is look in that folder for anything. For like, basically there'll be one PNG or JPEG or GIF, whatever. And there can also probably eventually, like, I don't think this will be on day one, but you can have an MP3, like some sort of audio file. And all we got to do is look in that folder and see if it exists in that folder. And if it does, that music could be played alongside your fake gachi.
That's pretty sweet. So yeah, there's so many different formats you could publish a fake gachi with. Yeah, Hefe, that's a good example of a derivative done right. I mean, Pepinardo was retweeting those derivatives, so obviously they're in communication and aware and excited about it.
And it was just a fun thing. It was just airdropped to all the fake science holders. So it was just kind of like, hey, I just made this fun thing. It wasn't like the person was trying to sell it or make money or anything. They were just giving it away as like a...
It's really well done, too. I love the pic just sitting there. Usually it has a sense of humor,
Yeah.
These remixes, especially in the Pepes, they're just taking the piss, right? They're having some fun. So, It's a good one.
Yeah, and really, that's a key point there. Have fun, make this like Aavegotchis are meant to be fun, and the art's supposed to reflect that. So, it doesn't have to be super serious or have to impress everybody. If it's a good meme, it can make someone laugh. That might be enough to really make that piece valuable. There's some pretty simple looking rare Pepes, but they just got that meme right, and it just makes you laugh. And some of the early ones from the early days, making fun of Mount Gox and stuff, are still pretty funny and highly collectible. So
like the card format for so many of those Pepes, they do everything now, but a lot of those cards, they are basically memes, memeified trading cards, and they're fantastic. They usually have a lot of humor, and they also another thing that I hope the Fake Gotchis does have is pieces that mark significant events in the Gotchiverse or in the wider Aavegotchi protocol, right? So there's so many of those with the fake rares. They do that so well, where it's like the Roger Ver piece as a fake Gotchi, or the DAO hack or something could be one that if Ethereum had an equivalent, but they don't. So hopefully we get some of that, a little bit of history, a little bit of humor. There's so much opportunity here, so much content to experiment with.
And the AI can't really, well, it might not be able to do that yet. We might need human creativity to come up with that, because the prompt wouldn't know how to do it yet.
Well, like no futuristics, you're working hard with some of the visual inputs, which I haven't got that far with Midjourney. Like I like to play with it, and I think you must have the paid version. You can actually is it Midjourney or another one where you can put in like visual prompts, so you could like scan a Gotchi or submit an Aavegotchi PNG.
I've used Deep Dream. I made one piece that was like based on a prompt like that. You just put the image in. With Midjourney, there's a way that I don't think you need a subscription to do it. I do have the subscription now, but you can put in the prompt. If you go to like say if you go to Google and find an Aavegotchi image and take the URL, that can be your prompt in Midjourney, and then you can add stuff to it. The issue is like I'm not good enough yet to get it to like just replicate the PNG of a Gotchi and like do something with it. It always does these very weird and crazy things. But yeah, you could use images, and then you just gotta like I guess I have to work on learning how to prompt it so that like because I've been trying to do like Gotchis and stained glass windows on churches, and instead it'll just do some crazy shit, and it's like nothing like similar to the image. So I'm playing around with that. But I've been told there are other ones. Stable Diffuse will use Diffusion, I think it's called, uses image prompts as well.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think it's fascinating. We're at the beginning of all of this. So we'll see where it all goes. It'll get to a point where you can't even tell it's AI.
Are you allowed to use stable diffusion in Midjourney for NFT art? Is there anything in their terms of services that says you can't?
Great point. I remember hearing early on one of those had a issue with that. It's like no commercial use license when you use it. But I can't recall quite. Maybe somebody else knows more about it.
I thought when I was reading the Midjourney terms of service, it was like it's open use, so it was there was no issue there.
I think it was the first one, the open. What was it called?
Yeah,
I already forgot. Yeah, Dolly.
Dolly.
was,
Dolly.
No commercial use.
That was Dolly. Okay. Yeah, it was pretty early on. That was like a month ago. Everybody forgot about
I know,
Dolly.
right? It's like I already forgot the name of it. So ridiculous.
You see the image that I just put in? Like I've been copy pasting people's prompts, and they like there are some people that use prompts that are like Pixar, Disney, and it'll like actually render. And I think I was like Jesse mentioned it before, like in the Midjourney one of the chats, I just saw all these images, and it seemed like it was a person trying to coax like some commercially viable looking like Disney kind of characters, like trying to get something like I guess a prototype to work off of. But you could play around with it and get some cool details. Like with this, it was the image of a Gotchi, and I put in like Disney, Pixar, like not prompts of like the candle. I don't know where the hell the candle came from. The lighting is like one of the prompts, but it kind of just did its own thing, and I was like, oh, this is cool. But it's like I had no intention for this to come out.
Yeah, I think they have their place. Like that's an epic image. It might I don't know if it's a fake gotchi, but it's definitely very, very cool. There's a lot going on there. I don't know why it just put a mouth on that ghost, but no eyes. It's really spooky. Or is it one big eye?
You have an image that's online, I think in one of the wikis, which is like one of the gotchis wearing the gentleman's hat, the coat, the monocle. And I kept trying to get stuff out of that thing. And it kept giving me all these weird, like, film noir images. And I'm like, just give me a gotchi, something that looks like a gotchi. God.
That's funny. Oh, okay.
Cool. I'm
Then let-
glad we have this convo.
Well, hold on here. If we're sharing DMs now.
Cold Spirit, what is that monstrosity? Fees. Hefe, do we have a preview besides this discussion about the bonding curve or the bounce gate? Do we know what we'll be talking about tomorrow? Give everyone a preview.
Let me ask
Maybe,
Hardcore.
start some discussion on the forums in advance.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Hardcore, do we have the Miro board ready for tomorrow? Okay, he's gonna start off the Hangout, so we don't have the
Okay, cool.
things put together just yet. But what we can do is, if we want to make this a thing, I see kind of giving people a hint of what we might be talking about. DAO discussion, we can try and get the Miro board together before, like, maybe because I know Hardcore likes to wait till the very end to get all the discussion in, but maybe we just move it back a day, and that's something I was suggesting. We move it back a day so he can start working on it a day earlier, and then we can just talk about, we'll miss whatever gets brought up on Saturday, but that's okay. We can always, talk about whatever's brought up on this Saturday, next Sunday, and have the cutoff for any topics to discuss for Sunday on Friday night instead. So probably do that, just so we can give friends here an idea of what we're talking about on Sunday DAO discussion. DAO discussion should require new voting power calculation.
I think Jared has been making good progress on that. I saw in one of the chats, Jared is currently working on implementing the voting power based on AGIP 37. Really cool to see some movement on that. I think we're reviewing the PR right now. Aavegotchi, should new voting power calculation include V2 and V3? I don't think we need to do V2, right? I don't think anyone's really using that because we only support WAP Ghost, which is V3 on the UI. Hello, sir. Kuido? Kuido is also one of the few members of this Discord that has the artist role. Kuido, are you excited about fake gotchis?
Guido reached out when this all started. He's I believe, working on something. And if can recall which pieces. He's actually, some of the wearables our Aavegotchis are wearing Koito pieces. It's been a while. Was it the Vacationer? Was it actually the Vacationer shirt? I think that was Koito.
It's in the metadata on the wearable on chain. But yeah, I'd have to. Kuya, what did you do? See if it. I don't think we have it on the wiki.
Oh, Rod. Rod was fantastic. I haven't talked to Rod in like a year.
Okay, I got the list here. He did the Rasta hat, the Rasta
He said
shirt,
the Martini.
Jamaican flag, baby bottle.
Dude, Coder Dan loves the Rasta shirt. He's always talking about that.
And the wine. Nice. I do like the Rasta shirt. I don't actually have a Rasta shirt in real life. Does that mean we need to make a Gotchi Rasta shirt?
Oh,
I have the rainbow poncho, the mythical poncho. I have that one in real life. I got it from Mexico.
Nice. Yeah. Those are comfy. That's why it's called the comfy poncho.
I can definitely attest to the comfy aspect.
Do you have the hood too?
Got the whole, the comfy poncho with the hood and everything. Yeah.
Dang, you just got me thinking. I need to get a poncho. Like, I'm in the South now. I could probably rock one and it'd be like cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, poncho in New York City would stand out, but in Tennessee, I don't think anybody would think twice.
In New York, I'm sure they'd be like, "Who is this hippie? What is this guy doing here?"
I need a
Really?
boots.
In New York, I figured like everyone would be wearing all sorts of stuff in New York.
Oh yeah.
They do. They're still like very much like. I mean, in
But not
Manhattan,
ponchos.
like everything in Manhattan. But if you go to the outer boroughs, it gets a little bit stickier. So like a guy walking around with a poncho on in the Bronx is going to draw a lot of attention.
This guy belongs in Manhattan. What's he doing out here?
What are the ponchos made of? Is it like wool?
Yeah, wool. I think the one I have is wool.
So it's like breathable, right?
Yeah. It's actually, you could even wear it when it's like warm out, and it's not that bad. Like you would think it'd be super hot, but it's because, like you say, it's breathable. It's not bad. It's comfy.
Yeah, I've reached like the point now because it's like in Nashville the weather dipped to like 60 degrees, so riding a bike is like a pain because on the bike it's like 40 degrees, 45 degrees. So it's like I have a windbreaker I can wear, but as soon as I get off the bike, it's it's way too hot. It's a goose down windbreaker, a small one. So got to figure out a better system to ride around. Also, Tamagotchi, that piece looks awesome. What is that Portal Mage inspired?
It's like an Iron Man Portal Mage. It's like Iron Man crossed with Portal Mage. That sus butterfly looks hella dark though. Evil sus butterfly.
I'm gonna get off here, friends. Another great hangout, and I think today was probably the smoothest Gotchiverse we've had. It was really nice in there, and we are going to be working on the back end refactoring. Big update on the back end, which is going to make things even smoother. Really looking forward to that. Hopefully, that's going to be coming next week. We got a big release scheduled for that, so look forward to that, and lots of smooth days in the Gotchiverse ahead of us, friends.
I'm stoked for this art release. It's gonna be huge.
Yes. Yeah, we have to do the back end thing before the art release. Otherwise, it's I think the Gotchiverse would be pretty laggy because there's going to be a lot of new content coming in. This is coming in just in time.
Thank y'all for shipping
Yeah.
as always.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for all the support and all the outreach and just all the help in the Discord, especially as we get new people coming in. You know, we have some mods and some helpers, but it's always great when the community is active and you know, welcoming friends and helping them on board, because the rabbit hole goes deep for sure. But we are working to make it simpler for people. It's gonna take a bit, but it is in the works. So just want to thank you guys also for your help.
Well, I'll hop off here too, and just second everything that Coder Dan just expressed. So,
Hey, thank you guys, man. You guys have a wonderful day, or for you guys, night. So enjoy yourself. And you could be anywhere.
yeah.
You could be anywhere, Jesse. So who knows? You could be day, night.
Right. You don't know where I am right now. No, I'm in town. It's going to be nuts here the next week. It's Singapore and it's crypto art week and crypto week. So we've got a lot to do this.
If you get a chance,
Fun fact: the only person to get back to me in time for the crypto art week was Bin Laden, and that's why I'm really ticked, because I spent 3-4 days vying to get him in the physical, in real life art gallery. And I had to call them up today and say, hey, forget it. And I don't even know if we're going to get our press release out with them. We got our logos next to each other, all big and beautiful. You know, we're all working really hard here, and we just don't need the extra surprises sometimes when, you know, the disappointment carries over to real life actions. So I'll end it on a positive, though. I love your new PFP Gotchi Emperor. That is a very good derivative. You've got the kind of the best thing 8-Bit Guilds put out, right? That Pepe plus Terrence McKenna.
I got the very last one too.
Did you get it?
I got the very last one they had, so you know, that's dope. You know what I mean? And I definitely think that, you know, you guys are godlike, so you'll be able to figure it out. So,
oh yeah! All right, cool guys. Well, have a great weekend.
Later, friends.
See you on the other side.
GM.
The Aavegotchi intern.
Yeah, love it.
This man is out of control.
Later, friends. Peace.
Take
Don't
it easy,
forget-
friends.
See y'all tomorrow.
Yeah,
Please
don't forget the
Please.
DAO discussion tomorrow, 2 p.m. UTC. See you later, friends.
Also, keep an eye out for some Gotchi Jam stuff. We're gonna be doing a little tourney, and you'll be able to beat me.
Yo,
Nice.
yeah. I need to keep an eye out for that because I actually have a Gotchi that I rented that's got the full Chicago Bulls set. So I'm gonna have to come see what's up.
Yeah, get up in there.
And number 23 does hit different when you're on the court.
Cool, y'all.
All right,
See you then.
friends.
I watched you guys
Peace.
play one of those games. That was pretty cool.